Hello, class. I'm Professor Reynolds, and I'd like to welcome you to Accounting 317, which is Intermediate Accounting. This course is going to focus on a couple different areas. We're going to evaluate financial statement components for adherence to accounting principles and methods. We're going to apply these accounting principles and methods to current assets and liabilities, and you're going to apply accounting principles and methods to long-term assets. You probably aren't new to uh, Southern New Hampshire University. But in case you are, what I'm going to do is go through each week the modules, talk about what's due, maybe some of the different concepts. Um, we'll go through the um, aids that you have available for you. There are a lot of videos, there's other materials that can help you be successful in this course. There will be assignments due each week, and there'll be larger assignments due along the way, milestone 1, milestone 2, and these will build on each other. These will be projects where you're going to be entering journal entries, and you'll be updating balance sheets, and then you'll do a final income statement, you'll figure out depreciation, things along those lines. Each week, as I said, I'm going to put together a video, and what we'll talk about is really what's due that week or any of the different concepts for accounting. This week we've got, let's go ahead and look at Module 1 Introduction here. Really, we're going to identify your professional goals. We're going to explain the importance of a governing set of principles. We'll identify components of financial statements, calculate items of various financial statements, and we're going to look at some of the FASB codification. It's a little project that really shouldn't take you a lot of time. It should be fairly simple, all right? So what's really helpful is to go ahead and review the resources. We'll look at that. You have a discussion due this week, which we'll talk about. Your initial discussion has to be completed by midnight on Thursday. That's Eastern time. In the future, they can be completed by midnight your time. Then you will need to at least respond to 2 of your classmates. It has to be meaningful. It has to expand on their points. It can't just be fluff. You'll have a quiz this week. The quiz will be about 20 questions this week. I'll just introduce you to them. And then there are some CPA exam questions that are optional. Right? And this is for you because if you're taking this class, you're pretty much majoring in accounting, which I think is a great career. And so I believe that if you really want to be successful in accounting, you need to be a CPA. I am a CPA. Again, I'm Professor Reynolds. I'm here in my home study. You can see that I obviously like books. I have a master's degree in accounting, an undergraduate degree in finance. I also have an MBA. And I'm working on a history degree. I know, apparently I like school. And I've done all of this while working. So I know that a lot of you probably are working, and I know what's required to be successful while you're working and also finishing school. I would recommend that you set specific times each week to do things. Now, the benefit of online education, of course, is that you can do it in your own time. But if you procrastinate, then what happens is that every weekend you're trying to catch up. And if you don't do it correctly, then you don't get good grades. And you make mistakes that you wouldn't make if you were better prepared. So I would recommend you set aside maybe Monday night. Nothing goes on Monday nights, especially during this time of the year. There's no football. But Monday night, maybe you read the materials. Or first, you listen to my video, you go to see what's due this week, and then you read the material that you have to read. And then maybe Wednesday night, you can go through some of the resources if you don't understand the material that you read or if you need more clarification. And then you will, maybe Friday or Saturday, by then you should have everything you know. And then you can just work on the material, or maybe you start Thursday night. I find that if you have that schedule, even though this is an online course, that it will help you be successful and you're not waiting to the last minute. If you do wait to the last minute, you have an extra week to complete an assignment, but there is a 10% penalty. So if the assignment's worth 100 points, you lose 10 points automatically. So if you get an 80 on the assignment, you end up with a 70. But all points matter. And at SNHU, to get an A, you got to get a 92. So you need all the points you can. For the discussions, that's pretty much a drop dead date. If you don't do the discussions on time, then you can't go back because no one's going to be looking at your discussions. So let's look at what's due this week. And we're going to go back to Module 1. And we've done the introduction. Now we're going to look at the different resources. This week you're going to have 3 chapters that you have to read. And these chapters are, let me look over here, 1, 3, and 4, I believe. Chapter 1, which is Introductions and Gap, and then Chapter 3 and 4. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the book yet, so I was going to open the book. I just basically got this course, so I don't have the book that I can look at yet, or I would look at the book and we would kind of go through the chapters. But you need to read Chapter 1, and if you want some additional knowledge, you're looking here, Applied Skills video, how to identify accounting assumptions, principles, and constraints. Here's another video. This is about 9 minutes, about 4 minutes. PowerPoint lecture, what are the 4 key assumptions that can be made when considering the financial accounting structure. Then you have the reading for Chapter 3. In this chapter, you'll learn about the uses, limitations, and basic content of an income statement. That's one of your basic 4 statements. It tells you whether you made money or not. It has income, which of course is revenue coming in the door. For instance, if you're Home Depot, revenue is when they sell something, when they sell a lawnmower, when they sell a rake, when they sell light bulbs. Whatever they're paid for that is their revenue. Their expenses are whatever expenses it takes to do that. So they have a store, they have registers, they have people that work there. And of course, they have the materials, the merchandise, which in a retailer, that's called cost of goods sold. And you'll move it from inventory to cost of goods sold. So that's the income statement. Here's Chapter 3 video, how to structure an income statement using the single-step format and multi-step format. And then you have Chapter 3's video, how to compute net income. Again, it's revenue less expenses, but depending upon the type of income statement it is, it has to be structured a different way, and you have different levels of income so that you can identify income at certain parts, which is helpful for people that evaluate your company. And then Chapter 4, we're going to be talking about the balance sheet. The balance sheet and the accounting equation is assets equal liabilities plus equity, or owner's equity, or shareholder equity. They're all the same thing. So assets, of course, are things that you own, things that have value, things that you can sell for cash if you need it, things that you use in your business. So again, for Home Depot, you have the building, you have the cash registers or the computers, you have the shelving, you have everything that you need, forklifts, everything you need, those are assets and they have long lives. Now, Liabilities or something means you owe somebody money. It could be where you owe a friend money. That's a liability. It could be where you use a credit card. You've just created a liability because now you owe that credit card company. And owner's equity really is a difference between assets and liabilities. And let me give you a quick example. Let's say you bought a house for $100,000. That's your asset. You've got an asset for $100,000. How did you buy it? Well, if you put 20% down, that means that you put $20,000 down and you finance 80,000. So assets of 100,000 equal liabilities of 80,000 plus equity of 20,000, and so assets equal liabilities plus owner's equity. And here's a video that will expand upon that. And here's another video, how to prepare the current assets section of the balance sheet. Current assets means that they will be turned into cash or can be turned into cash within a year or the operating cycle, whichever is longer. Most companies have an operating cycle of a year. Here's some additional support for FASB, how to use codification. That's going to be our one of our first projects coming up. And then you have generally accepted accounting principle. So these are all good resources. So we have the discussion. Welcome to AC 317 as you explore the accounting field throughout the duration of course. It's important to recognize and consider that everyone has various background knowledge and experiences with accounting. So you're going to have an initial post. And it is important that for your post that you cover all of these points to get full credit. If you only do one of them, then you're not going to get full credit. So talk about what did you learn from your earlier accounting courses? How do you want to learn in this course? What are your professional goals? Why is it important to have a governing set of principles? You will also, let's see, it's important to recognize what well, this supposed feature. Let's start by getting to know each other. So a little bit about yourself would be helpful. As I said, I am a CPA, certified public accountant. I worked in industry as an accounting manager for a couple of very large companies. I was in management of diagnostic imaging centers prior to that. Prior to that, I actually fixed CAT scanners, and prior to that, I was in the Navy on a nuclear submarine, a couple of them. One was a fast attack, whose mission is to go out and kill other submarines, enemy submarines. And the other was what's called a boomer, which has all these missiles, which hopefully we will never have to use. I've been an adjunct professor for 7 years at a couple of different universities. I've worked at Southern New Hampshire University for 2 years. You might notice I have a little bit of a posture problem here. And the reason for that is because last July, while body surfing in the Isle of Palms, which is outside of Charleston, I broke my neck. And I know when you go, wow, break your neck, that's serious. And it was serious, and it is serious. However, I was lucky, according to the doctor, because I've always been active. I've always exercised. I've lifted weights. And because of that, I can walk today, although not entirely straight. But I can do about 95% of what I could do. So life is still not bad. All right, so that's a little bit about me. As I told you, I'm also pursuing a degree in history online, so I know where you're at. All right, so we had the discussion. Get that first part in by Thursday. And then once after Thursday, respond to a couple of your classmates. Although some of you are probably going to be responding quickly, so you can respond at any time someone has posted something. Then we'll have a quiz, and we'll just go to that real quickly. And so you'll open up the quiz, and we will start Module 1, Pool 1, And these are chapter 3s, and it's really going to be true false questions. You notice there are 19 questions. This should not take you a long time, and of course I'm giving you the answer to the first one. The income statement is useful in assessing the risk or uncertainty of achieving future cash flows. Yes, because it tells you how much income you've made, and if you have good positive income, that will provide good cash flow, and that will provide um, your improve your ability to pay your bills. All right, so now let's go back to this, and we're going to go back to module 1. So that is due. That shouldn't take too long. Okay, so you've got the discussion due, you've got that due, and then you've got FASB codification. And this shouldn't take you long either. Let's look at the guidelines and the rubric. All right, so you're going to access the FASB Accounting Standards Codification website. You're going to, on the right side under Basic Views, select I'm Not a Robot and pass through. And then you're going to just basically look at, let's see if we can pull up the template. So you'll save that and then you'll pull it up. And hopefully it will show up on my screen here. Well, unfortunately, it's not showing up on my screen. But what it is it's you're going to look up the appropriate accounting standards codification number depending upon what it is. So let's go to the FASB Accounting Standards Codification. You'll see that I'm not a robot. Access. You'll agree to their terms. It's nothing other than agreeing to their terms. I accept. And then here is how to use this, help. But for instance, one of this is research and development. And research and development, um, let's see if we can type this in. Let's see. So research and development would maybe be under expenses. Nope. Okay, we close this out. Let's look under master glossary. Research and development. It says see topic 730, but that's not really the appropriate. So let's close this out. Or nope, that's not it. Expenses, let's see if it's under expenses. Research and development. Okay, yeah, well, that was it. All right, so we're going to research and development for software costs. So you can see here that the appropriate part of the appropriate section of FASB to look at how to handle research and development for software costs is right here. So section 985. So we'll put down there 985. And so let's try one more. And the other one, of course, is, let's close this out. And then let's go to, well, there's another one that says cash and cash equivalents. So cash, of course, is an asset. And boom, right there. Cash and cash equivalents is section 305. So I've given you part of the answer. Now, if it was cash and cash equivalents for financial services, depository and lending, it would be section 942. So that really is all you need to do for this. There are going to be 5 different topics that you will need to identify. And so that's really it for the first section here. You go in here, you have your template, you pull that up, and then you will submit the template. And then you will go here and find the information. And so let's go back to module one. And then you can look over the milestones and the projects. I'll do that in a different video. If you need some guidance on Excel, if you're going to be an accountant, you need to learn how to be good at Excel. I have read the Excel Bible at least a couple of times, and there's more information. I've forgotten more information than I've retained, but I've retained enough so that I can do pivot tables and I can do VLOOKUPs and XLOOKUPs. And those are very valuable when you're accounting. A pivot table allows you to sort a vast amount of data so that you can determine, hey, I want to know how many shovels that Home Depot sells in Franklin, Tennessee. And if you have the data, you can manipulate it so that you will have that information. And then you have these reminders, these CPA questions. Again, if you're going to be in accounting, you should become a CPA or a CMA, which is a certified management accountant. All right, so that's the first week. As I said, each week I will go through and I will talk about what is due, talk about some of the maybe topics that we're going to talk about. So I encourage you to watch this video each week. This course goes by quickly. If you've been here, 8 weeks goes by quickly. Before you know it, we'll be halfway through the class. Try not to get behind. Once you get behind, then it feels like it's just an avalanche and you've got so much to do that the tendency is to give up. But you can do this. And this is a great field. There are more accountants leaving the business than entering. If you enjoy this type of work, then I encourage you to do your best in this course because an accounting career, if you enjoy this work, can be lucrative, it can be rewarding. To be a CPA has some stick with it. Hey, certified public accountant. So I encourage you to try not to get behind, keep up with the work, and before you know it, you'll be on to your next class and you'll be closer to that degree that'll get you that wonderful accounting job. If you have any questions, if something happens, please let me know beforehand. Um, if you happen to last year be in the fires in LA and class is ongoing, I can't expect you to do things when you're in the middle of a fire. So if something like that happens, make sure you let me know. I'm here to help you be successful. All right, good luck this week.